You are a midlife queen, and queens do not self-abandon. We're going to talk about the path back to yourself and why self-trust is so key to going after the life you dream of and the one that you are worthy of. Hello, friends. My name is Katie, and I help women reconnect, rediscover their inner authority, connect with the divine power within them so that they can build the life they were made for. And a lot of that work centers around self-trust. Most of us were taught from a very early age that we can't trust ourselves. I mean, this is just the world that we were conditioned into as women. And what I see over and over is that we get to this place at midlife where something shifts and our eyes start to open. Maybe you spent years giving yourself, sacrificing for motherhood, for a marriage that wasn't working or felt so draining, or jobs. And we kind of go through the motions thinking we're following the steps, we're doing all the right things. And then eventually it just feels like you're slogging and you can't even go anywhere. Everything feels exhausting and burnout is at an all-time high. And really what it is our nervous systems are screaming at us that we're not living in alignment with who we were made to be. We're giving because we learned that, well, if we just make everybody else comfortable, if we will just sacrifice, then our needs will be met. And when you are told over and over through maybe being neglected emotionally, or your feelings dismissed, or living in a culture that expects us as women to be the caretakers, we learn to put others first. Is it loving to care for the needs of others? Yes. And is it a wonderful thing when we look out into the world and we want to pour that love out? Absolutely. And I think this is where, as women, we get stuck because we innately want to be so connected to our heart. We want to bring our purpose and healing into the world. And we do that a lot through our nurturing. But our nurturing, it gets weaponized. It gets taken advantage of. And then we learn that we're only as good as we can provide comfort for others. And we end up doing that at the expense of our needs, our dreams, and a nervous system that feels at peace. And so we arrive here at midlife and we feel numb, we feel angry. These are the common complaints. And it's because you have been putting your desires and your dreams on the back burner so long, they might not even feel like they exist anymore, that they're pushed in the recesses of your mind. And in order to build the life that you dream of, you have to return inward to self-trust. And self-trust is really uncomfortable at first because it requires us to make a conscious decision that we're going to learn to value our own voice, our guiding, leading inner authority over all the voices outside, all the authorities that we have been trained to prioritize over ourselves. We live in a world that teaches us that power is out there. We are separated from it. We have to ask permission. We have to get in line and follow the rules society has set in place. So we build these beliefs based on, I need the world to approve of me, to invite me into something, to allow me access to a room. And when we are deciding that we're going to do something greater and be someone who achieves the life they dream of, we have to disconnect from the beliefs that said we have to ask permission. We have to get someone else's approval before we can take steps. And that means you have to start valuing what your girl is telling you and remembering the truth that there is a queen in you who knows what she desires, because your soul is on a mission on this earth. And when we feel depressed and numbed, we are out of alignment with who we truly are. That's the disconnect. That is what I believe the depression we feel. We feel disconnected from our purposes. When we feel joy is when we are creating. And to create, it requires us to listen to what's coming and wants to flow through us. See, when we think of ourselves like vessels, the light of the Creator within us wants to flow through us and pour our purposes out into the world. But we can't flow out from within when we are so busy focused on listening to the world and allowing the world to be the input for us. See, what we have to do is shut off the faucet of what we're getting input from. So instead of that being the voice that we're listening to, whatever the rules that decided who we as women can be, you're not allowed to have money, or you're only allowed this much success based on who you are, what you look like, what you're capable of. It's our job to start disconnecting from those old records playing from the outside, and learning to find that channel within us. And so I hear women say, I don't really have intuition. I don't have that, but you do. You have just been trained so many years that voice within you can't be trusted, that it's just illogical. And so we have this focus in our culture that it has to be logical. It has to look realistic. So we create realistic goals. The difference between a goal and a dream is a dream feels to the logical mind unachievable. A goal, it feels like it's within reach. We can logically and rationally chart out the steps to get there. And we achieve goals, but within you, you have dreams. You have these visions in your mind, and maybe they're far back, and you have learned that they're not available. Maybe you want to do something that sounds so out of who you feel like you are today, but you don't trust that because you were told that that's fantasy. Let's get with reality. We hear over and over. But guess what, love? Reality is not what we see. We see reality according to what we believe. And so anything within you that feels like this higher, far away dream, I want to tell you that that is a vision from your soul. That is the divine within you that knows who you truly are. But because we listen to the noise outside that says that's fantasy, this is who you are, this is the box that you were born into and you have to stay in. We feel so fixed. And when we feel fixed and we accept that that is just the way it is, that's what stirs up that angst, that anxiety, and that depression, because it is our soul wanting to expand because it knows that we were built and designed for something so much greater than this little box of reality that we have been stuck in. And in order to actually fulfill that dream that you were made for. Because when we have a desire and a dream, it is flashes of remembrance from your true self. It is like a divine blueprint that's showing you the way home. And in order for you to come into the fulfillment of that dream, it is going to require you to become somebody that you have never been. And really, it's who you truly are but she's been buried, that voice, that you within, buried beneath all the programs and the limiting beliefs and the narratives of the world and society and your parents that has been put on you. You're not broken. You're just trying to see who you really are. And we feel this sludge because we've got all of this stuff coating us like an onion, telling us, well, stay within this box. This is what you have. And we can't move because our soul is saying, no, I need to get out of this. I can't create what I'm made for when I'm stuck. And all the stuff that layers us, that false self, the limiting beliefs that we're not good enough, that we can't be successful, that we weren't born into a healthy family, all of the things, you know what you carry around, your inner narrative. We all have our inner narrative and our stories playing on loop. Those stories are not your identity. You have a divine blueprint. And in order for that dream to become your reality, you're going to have to pull those layers off. And that's going to first require you to choose to prioritize what the voice within you is saying and telling you, like the truth about who you are. It's going to require you to begin to take control of your inner world and recognize the truth that your inner world is what creates your outer form. We have this idea, we're taught that we are at the mercy of matter around us outside. The world does something, we get triggered, and we react, and we are powerless. But coming back into ourselves and learning to trust ourselves so that we can access the dreams within us, it requires us to shed the victimhood. And most of us live in victimhood because we learn to believe that life is just happening to us, but it's not. Everything out there is revealing who you are inside and where you are stuck and where you feel imprisoned so that you can release that stuff. Every trigger is like a portal showing you where you're not free. Life reveals people and circumstances to show us where we're not free. So you have the capacity to live a completely different life. Wherever you're sitting right now, I want you to listen and take heart. What you have and what you feel stuck in right now is not the life you're made for. It is not your path. It is not your true identity. But where you are right now is perfect. Okay? And this, I know this might be triggering, but where you are right now in the places you feel stuck are the places that your soul is pointing you to release and free yourself from, which means you have beliefs that are out of alignment with who you are, and they're going to hold you back from becoming who you're meant to be. If you don't feel good enough, which is a very common belief that so many people walk around in, you're not going to believe that you can have that life. You can write that book, that you can do something of great purpose to pour your message out into the world. If you don't feel good enough inside, you're only going to keep yourself looking in places that are small. You're not going to allow yourself to have anything greater. So, learning to reconnect to your voice inside and learning to take control of your thoughts, learning to shift your beliefs to ones of power is the key to actually accessing that. This is something that I've been doing for years. And the more I shift, tune out all the noise and tune in to the signal, I hear what I'm called to do. I hear the work and the purpose and the value that I'm meant to bring to this world. And it is so satisfying, but it requires you take greater value in the wisdom flowing within you over what the world is telling you you're allowed to do. And so this is where we get secure. Security in your being is learning to take steps and prove to yourself that you're worthy, to give yourself evidence that you will show up for yourself, that you will take steps, that you will choose new beliefs about yourself. If you have auto loops running in your brain that, oh, I could never do that, if that's the kind of narrative that you're walking around with, you're never going to change your life. What you say about yourself becomes your life. So anything you say, I am not this kind of person. I can't ever do that. I used to say for years, I am terrible at money. I'm terrible at math. I can't learn these things. I'm not musical. These are all beliefs, and what we believe will become our reality. This is the law of the universe. This is how it works. The thoughts we think become the life we live. And so if you feel stuck, it's time to look at what your thoughts are. It's time to become aware of what you are allowing to invade your vessel, the emotions you're feeling, because our thoughts make us feel certain ways. So if you have a lot of emotions that are negative and are dragging you down and you feel anxious and you're looking outside for validation, and if someone would just give you the approval or the validation, then you would feel better, that's a sign that you have beliefs about yourself that are not in alignment with who you are. That means that low self-worth, it's your job to release the victim mindset that's waiting for the outside world to give you permission to come into the queen that you were always meant to be. And this is the freeing work, taking your inner authority back. It's a choice and a decision to say, I'm going to choose to sit with myself and learn to value my voice again and learn to take steps to trust myself. If you hear that voice, that intuitive voice within you is the voice of your soul. And it's a very small voice. It's like a whisper sometimes. It's like often it tells us to do something, take little actions, and they kind of seem weird, out there, they don't make sense. And what we do is we drown it out with our logical mind, that logical side of us that says, that's crazy, that's weird, I'm not doing that. And so we learn to ignore and repress those little hunches. But that's your intuition. And that wisdom, that voice within you, that will lead you to your dream. When you can listen to that and take lots of massive, mediocre action and just trust that voice, it feels ridiculous. It feels like you're doing something the world would say is so dumb. Like you're just going to trust yourself. That's illogical. The world is obsessed with logic. And that's why we don't feel like our dreams are within reach. But you have to learn to prioritize the intuitive voice over the logical mind. This is the way. And this is the path that I've been on. And the more I follow and trust the little nudges and the little breadcrumb trails that tell me to take this step, do this thing. When I first started on my YouTube journey and making videos and creating a podcast and writing, it felt childish. It felt so amateur. But I just listened. And it felt expansive, and it was uncomfortable, but it felt right. But it felt like evolution. That's what it feels like when you're listening to your soul. It feels like you're stretching out of this vessel that can't contain it. And that can cause nervous system dysregulation. And so we have to learn to take care of our body and our nervous system so that we can expand our vessel to be able to receive more and to give more into the world of our true purpose. Self-trust is a practice that you can begin. Extraordinary lives look like a lot of ordinary action that's aligned with the voice inside you that's leading you. So just keep going and know that you can trust that. Trust the knowing within. Keep going, my love. You are so worth it.